Shalom. All praises go to the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Lawakadash. Double honors unto the elder apostles and great millstone for the teachings of the scriptures, among other things. Shalom to the sincere Akim across the world. Right. So I'm just going to get down with it. You have a lot of things going on around the world now, especially concerning Esau and the battle with the heathen nations. And of course, that's in the scriptures. So these are the times that we're looking for, that you're supposed to be looking forward to. You know, the end of Esau's society, his little world that he mapped out, that's fallen. It's fallen, bit by bit, piece by piece. And I'm gonna just hit him up with a few scriptures, of course. Job chapter 14, verse. Now it says here, Job 14 and 4. Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? Not one. You can't bring a clean thing out of an unclean. So there's a lot of things that are unclean. For example, pork. You know, but that's what Esau does. He changes things. You know, but anyway, verse 5. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee, O Lord. I didn't say, O Lord, but I know it's talking about the Heavenly Father because it's the Most High that's actually the one that determines if your kingdom is going to go on or if your kingdom is going to fall, right? So it says, seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his... Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. He can't pass a certain threshold, for example, a certain line that he can't pass through. And he's getting to that line. He's getting very close. That's why, you know, he's panicking. Terror shall make him afraid on every side. That's why they're afraid. They're afraid of Iran attacking them. They're afraid of all these things happening to them. They've been afraid since 1992. But then the Most High was not, he didn't make the Israelites ready to basically go out there and start talking to the rest of the Jacob descendants. Because 1992, most of the Jacob descendants wasn't even born yet, you know what I'm saying? I mean, like the ones on YouTube right now, you know? Because we got this word from the elder apostles in 2007. That's when the word started to go out. That's what I believe, that was the beginning of the latter end. You know, we are in the end days, but that's the beginning of the latter end of days. That's the starting point of it, you know what I'm saying? Because off of that, everybody started to wake up and go out there and teach, you know? So, his days are determined, right? Wait, let me... Because I was talking about that. Wait. Wait, I'm setting up scriptures, right? Because right, because we in that time right now. So it says here. Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. The Most High is talking about his people. He's not talking about the entire world, even though in the book of Isaiah 24, it does speak about the entire world. All the inhabitants thereof basically are erring because they don't know anything. Esau changed nations into colors and lands. They're not people anymore. Because you have now, you got like, for example, you got like Chinese people living in Europe call themselves Europeans. They are to a certain degree, but they're not. Just like how you have Israelites, like slave descendants, for example, they're living in America. They're living in South America. They're living in Canada. They're calling themselves after the names of those lands. You know, that's not what you are. And those lands are just made up names, you could kind of say, because before these Edomites was in those lands, they didn't have those names. So those names was actually made up. According to them, they named them the places after themselves. So it says right here, Job chapter 1, because I said in the beginning that terror shall make him afraid on every side, and he cannot pass the boundaries that have been set before him, because the Most High is going to make it to where He's not going to be able to go past a certain boundary, past a certain line. That's what I was looking for. He can't go past that line because that line is being, uh, he's drawing near unto it. So, Job chapter 18, verse 1. Then answered Bildad, the Shuhite, and said, How long will it, how long will it be ere you make an end of words? Mark, and afterwards we will speak. Verse 3. Wherefore are we counted as beasts, and reputed foul in your sight? He teareth himself in anger. Shall the earth be forsaken for thee? And shall the rock be removed out of his place? Verse 3. Verse 5, sorry. Yea, the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine. That shows you that the light of the wicked has light. The wicked has a spark. And that spark is being dimmed right now because a lot of people waking up to basically the devil is upon the planet Earth, which is Esau. And a lot of people are waking up to it. Not just Muslim people, but the average Edomite, they don't know nothing about that. They just say stuff like, yeah, the government is evil, they're doing witchcraft and all these type of things, doing rituals and all that there. That's as far as they go, but they don't turn to literally that same side and say like, hey, wait a minute, these people are the devil the Bible speaks of. They're not linking it together, but we're linking it. Because like I said, they're the ones that are actually coming out with these documentaries about how their government is doing some satanic stuff, numerology, colors, all with satanic vibrations and frequencies and all that there. But they don't put two and two together like, hey, wait a minute, then these people are the devil then. Because the word devil means deceiver, by the way. And I mean it as doublefold. I mean it as a deceiver, and I also mean it as people that basically worship Satan. Right, so it says here, verse 6, the light shall be dark in his tabernacle, and his candle shall be put out with him. Because they have a candle, and that candle is something that all nations on the planet Earth wants to actually go toward. But nowadays, people are starting to wake up like, man, is it actually good for me to go around these Edomites knowing what I know right now? All these expose videos on YouTube and stuff like that. But you know what the funny thing is? You don't see these type of videos on YouTube no more, These so-called expose videos where they get exposed and all that there. Those things have kind of switched platform to Rumble and BitChute, and it's like they're being drowned, so you got to really look for them. But like I said, if you go on BitChute or Rumble, you're going to find videos. If you just click on it, then other videos are going to be recommended to you according to what you're looking for. That has to do with the things that you're looking up. Because if you go to YouTube and you look up stuff, you're not going to get the same type of category type thing. You're not going to get that in the recommendation box. You're going to get fluffy things like PewDiePie or, all these Mr. Beast or whatever. All these clownery, buffoonery type videos. And that's what you're going to get. You're going to get fun videos, things that have to do with fun. Meanwhile, the financial world of Esau is collapsing. He can't keep it up no more. So the facade, he can't keep up that facade no more. For example, Apple is just being exposed by some other Edomite. They make it their own tongue to fall upon themselves. One Edomite is exposing Apple that they basically lost $1 trillion to the Chinese empire. And wait, I'm gonna try and look it up. Apple deal lost $1 trillion. Apple, so it says here, Apple has now joined Amazon in losing $1 trillion in market cap from its all-time high. 1 trillion. You know how much it takes to spend 1 trillion? If you would spend 1 million every hour, 24/7, every day of the week, all year round, 52 weeks, you wouldn't run out of a trillion in 114 something years. 114 years plus a few months and stuff like that. That's how long it would take if you would spend 1 trillion by spending 1 million every hour, 24/7. That's 8,000 something hours a year, and then multiply that or divide that, and by 1 million an hour. Yeah, no, not divide by 1 million an hour. I mean, divide that by X amount of years, which comes to 114 years. So yeah, I'll put the link in the description box so you can check it out for yourself. Apple loses $1 trillion of market cap. See, they falling, you know. But it's all good. See, these things are, how can I say it? These things are basically like a little breadcrumbs to see that Esau is falling, you know, piece by piece. So let me go back to the scriptures. Now this is the book of Job chapter 18. Job 18:7. The steps of his strength shall be straightened. The steps of his strength shall be straightened. Why? Straight means a narrow, difficult passage. So the Most High says the strength, like Esau been stomping straight out of Compton since the old school days, as if he was straight out of Compton. He fucking made Compton. Anyway, he been stomping wild out, like, you know, stomping upon nations, stomping upon his own. That's why he's being exposed right now by his own, because they make it their own tongue to fall upon themselves. For example, the food system, the money system, everything. Like China is exposing them concerning the luxury items and stuff like that. He's been swindling people, you know, paying $50,000 for a bag. That bag is like $500 worth or something like that, $1,000 worth. But people do pay $50,000 because they feel good about themselves once they have that bag, you know. And you can talk about all cheapery and stuff like that, but hey, a lot of people don't like knockoff bags, you know. But they like knockoff foods, like GMO. Right, so let me go on. So the strength of his path, Most High is going to knock that down. Right, so it says here, the strength of the steps of his strength shall be straightened, and his own counsel shall cast him down, because he's stupid like that. You know, his own counsel is going to actually make sure that he's going to fall by his own counsel. They're going to set up stupid things like rules and all that there, and they're going to fall with it, and it's going to take a beautiful time. Because now what you have happening right now, you got Elam and Ishmael are now in England. Boy, I'm telling you, man, they got a whole sea of people over there, and then they worshiping their God and stuff like that. But you have certain places in England where these Edomites, they can't go. They can't go because it's going to be on, man. If they see you, it's on. So the Most High said that you're going to have the Carmanians and the dragons of Arabia. They're going to fight Babylon. They already did it back in the days. Ask the Carmanians themselves and ask the Ishmaelite themselves. But nowadays, and the ancient Babylon, but nowadays it's going to happen with America. But England is basically a baby Babylon too, you know, because they model themselves after the ways of Babylon. And that land is being destroyed from within. If you just type in YouTube and you say you type in England is a shithole right now. Oh boy, they're crying, they're complaining about how destroyed their land is. So I always leave comments like, yeah, you British Empire did the same thing to all the other heathen nations upon the planet Earth, and now it's happening to you. So how you feel about that? They complaining, they angry, but that's the good thing, man, because they complaining. You know, terror shall make them afraid on every side, and they are afraid. They are afraid that the Islam people in England are going to take over because they're very afraid, man. You know, I'll try and put links into the description box so you can check it out for yourself, how they are afraid. So terror shall make them afraid on every side. Muslims. I'll write it down so that I can put it in the description box. You know, like I said, they're afraid. And they're trying to fight against it. But the Most High said in the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 15 that the dragons of Arabia and the Carmanians, which are Elam, they're going to get the upper hand once they get that fighting on, man. And it's going to be a beautiful thing to be seen. And we're not going to participate in that because we're not down with none of them. You know, but when you see your enemy beating down your other enemy, that doesn't mean you need to be their friend. It means you need to just look at them and eat their popcorn watching them. I don't eat popcorn, by the way. It's a figure of speech, but just watch them, you know, and relay it to the other Jacob descendants, because some of them, I talked to a few, and some of these Jacob descendants, they're not even Muslim, but they're talking about, hey man, shit, we're gonna join them, man. I'm like, nah, you shouldn't. What you should be doing is just watch as well as pray. You know, let them handle themselves. Once the time comes, Jacob is gonna be in the midst of them as the dew from heaven. You know, Micah chapter 5. So they're gonna thin out the herd. They're gonna thin it out. You know, because a lot of Jacob descendants are gonna fall in that war too, raised wars. Matthew 24. Anyway, so it says here, Job chapter 18, verse 8. For he is cast into a net by his own feet, and he walketh upon a snare. A snare is a trap. So he cast a trap upon himself. Now I got a scripture on that actually. A quick precept, which is Psalms chapter 9, verse. Psalms chapter 9, verse chapter 15. The heathen are sunk down in the pit that they made. In the net which they hid is their own foot taken. The Most High is known by the judgment which he executed. The wicked is snared. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. Hagion. Salah. And Hagion means basically reoccurring music, reoccurring sound, meditation. So, inquisition, investigate. No, that's something else. Right, a reoccurring sound, which is basically, music to my ears. That's what it is. Reoccurring sound goes, what goes around comes around, and history repeats itself also. So basically that. Let me see, Psalms chapter 10, verse 2. The wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. For the wicked boasted of his heart's desire, and blessed the covetous, who the Lord abhorred. Right, because what they're doing is, they basically, let me read it again. The wicked boasted of his heart's desire. They're boasting of the things that they're about to do. Talking about they're finna go to Mars and stuff like that. They can't even go to the bottom of the ocean right about now. But they're talking about, which is on this planet Earth. But they're talking about they're finna go to another planet. Yeah, right, they can't even go to the moon. You see how bright the sun is? Cool cat. The moon is bright also. So imagine trying to land on that. You can't. You'd be blinded. They can't. They're lying to you. You know, everything is being exposed, and they make it their own tongue to fall upon themselves. Because, they're telling on each other. That's why guys like Edward Snowden got to flee the country. Because he told them. So Job chapter 18, verse 9. The grind shall take him by the heel, just like how Jacob is going to take him by the heel at the end, and then pull him down where he belongs. And the robber shall prevail against him, because Isaiah chapter 33 explains to you that. Wait, let me get that. Wait, let me read this again, and then I'll get the Isaiah. Right, because it's going to be a funny thing. Because everybody that got robbed by Esau, all nations, that got robbed by Esau, they're going to turn around and rob them back. That's happening in England right now, because it's being stirred up right about now, which is a funny thing, because it started with the British Empire, and now it's beginning to end with the British Empire. Actually, it started with the Greek Empire. They've been fall. They've been fall from grace. Fallen from their so-called grace. Their economy is destroyed. And they can't do nothing about it because it's their elites. Amalek is actually setting it up like that. If you watch the documentary You Are Amalek, you're going to figure it out. You're going to be like, hey, wait a minute, it's actually from within. Because if it wasn't up to Amalek, these Edomites would be still going strong. But it's the Most High that put the spirit on the kings of the earth in order to make them basically destroy themselves from within. If Satan's house is divided against each other, his house cannot stand. Esau is divided against one another. Basically, the house of Amalek versus the house of Esau versus the house of Edom. You know, all these tribes and stuff like that. I don't know specifically which tribe is what. Yeah, you heard about Teman and stuff like that, which is Germany. That's something else we do know about that, because they're the smart ones, you know. Because Russia, they got the scientists from Germany, a part of them, and then America got the other part of them. So they basically they're in it for the knowledge of the Temanites. Anyway, Isaiah chapter 31, verse 1. Woe to, no, that's not what I'm looking for. It's actually 33. Isaiah 33, verse 1. Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou wast not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled. And when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. So they're going to turn on you. Obadiah chapter 1, verse 7 or 6, where it says that they that were confederate with thee have laid a wound under thee. So the ones that are eating off of you are laying a wound under you now. Those are men. And that's what you have going on around now in with China. China is making sure that America is basically bootlicking. You know why? Because they're making their money off of them. And first, it's actually Apple that set up China to be such a superpower, because they already was kind of tough economically and military wise and stuff like that, but they didn't have that fancy money. And then America started funding them, training them to be smarter with the computer type things and stuff like that. I'll put that link in the description too. It's Esau that set them up. If you think about it, all the other Asiatic countries, they're not as advanced as China, because China was being helped by Esau, man. I'm typing it right now. So I'm gonna leave that in the description box so you can check it out for yourself. China is being set up by America, and now that they, now that they could basically stand on their 2 feet, now they spitting on it. Like, y'all don't need you no more. Fuck out of here. That's what they're doing, which is a good thing, because they're turning on them. Obadiah chapter 1, verse, what was it, 6 or, let me get that real quick. 6 or 7, wise. Oh, I think I know it. I think the oil is melting in my eye or something like that. Shut it. So this is Obadiah chapter 1, verse 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. Yeah, man, what's up? Let me read it again. So it says here, all the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. So, what are they doing? They're basically turning on the hand that fed them. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna put the link in the description box so you can check it out for yourself. And then you're gonna see it's videos. You have articles too that you can read. A lot of people don't like reading, so yeah, I'm gonna put videos and stuff like that, that you can see what I'm talking about. Right. So going back to Job, and it says right here. It says here, Job chapter 18, verse 9, the grind shall take him by the heel, and the robber shall prevail against him. They are going to prevail against them, man. The robber is going to come, and the robber is going to be all these different heathen nations, and they're doing it already right now, but in England and stuff like that. The heathen nations come to America, and they're basically, England, and they're basically taking stuff, man. Sweden, Denmark, damn it. Even in what's it again? You have this thing going on in Mexico right now, where they're actually kicking people, or actually the crowd is bombarding the areas where you have the Edomites that live there. They come from America and they live there, but they're causing the rent for the people that actually live there to go up. That's crazy. As soon as Edomites start coming in your neighborhood, all of a sudden the rent goes up. Like, it's like they're that valuable, right? So basically, the blessings of the Jacob descendants are now turned around, and back in the days when we come around, everybody get their ass blessed, and you can see that with the blessing that came upon Abraham. Bless them that bless thee, and curse them that curse thee. So everywhere we went, values start going up. Jacob came around Laban, and then what happened? He started to get successful with a lot of things that he was doing. So he didn't want to lose him, so he kept him around for 7 more years through trickery, right? Because he was doing good with him when he was around, with him around. Now Esau has that blessing, you know. Esau has that blessing that everywhere he go, everything starts blooming, being successful and all that type of stuff. But the Most High is going to take those take those blessings from him, and put the curses of Jacob upon him. And you can see that already right now, you know, because a lot of Edomites don't want to be Edomites, man, you know. But it's not in full effect yet. It's not like how you have Jacob descendants women walking around with straight hair. It's not to that effect, because they don't want to have their own. Don't want to walk around as their own. That's what you're gonna have with the Edomites. But their mind is gonna be in sync collectively. It's gonna be like 90%, 80% of the starting with their women. Because once you get them women, then you can get the men, because then the men are gonna follow the women. You know, they're not gonna say anything about it. For example, you had this female called Martina Big. Now what she did is she did some melanin type injections, made herself dark. All the Edomite men, they're furious with it, man. They're beside their heads. I'm gonna leave that link in the description box too. Martina Big, trying to get dark and all that. Not trying, she is. Martina Big. You know, it's a German chick that made herself dark, and a lot of Edomites hate it, man. They're talking mad shit about it, like, well, you look like you burned. So that's actually how they feel about us and all that type of stuff. You know, but anyway, so that's how they're gonna fall. Now it's just a few individuals, and as soon as they join Jacob descendants, you know, they call them whatever, mud shark or what type of shit or whatever. I got other words for them, but it's all good. Once that time comes, Heavenly Father willing, then we gonna be able to do stuff. Now we can't do anything. You shouldn't want to do any. Well, you should want to, but not do it. You wanna watch this with us pray, and also be angry and sin not. So just let everything flow through the power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahshua. When I say everything, I mean anything and everything in existence. Just let it flow. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters as long as Yahweh B'Shem Yahshua, his ways are met, and they will be. And then he might throw you a bone or something, trying to make you happy or whatever. You know, I don't want to boast, man. You know, but the Most High is very funny. When he does things, I already know, like, okay, it's the Most High did that. And he's trying to, cheer me up or whatever. He did it a few times. But I see what it is, though. It's like, when you're angry or whatever, walking the street. Normally, girls are trying to throw themselves at you like that. I had it a few times, but sometimes it get ridiculous. Like, yeah, it's the spirit. It's like a spirit did that to you, talking to you like, go talk, go do something. And then you looking at it like, all right, I'm amazed. I play along, but I'm amazed. Like, wow, the Most High really be playing with their minds and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So he can do things like that. That's why I personally say, like, yeah, don't worry about it, man. Nothing happens without Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai saying something or doing something about it. So I'm not even worried about that. What I am worried about is trying to stick up in this truth. Because, just that hope, which is a good thing. Yeah, I always got to fear if you really about that life. Because a lot of people are not about that life, you know what I'm saying? They are like, one moment they're in the scriptures and another moment they talking about herbal, like smoking weed is a herbal thing. And I know a few dudes that did that, which is, okay. Let me go back up in the scriptures. Anyway, so it says here, so that's the only fear that you should have. Should be afraid of that, man. Because like I said, I looked around. I saw guys that know plenty of scriptures, man. And they're back in the world right now with all that knowledge. I'd be like, wow, damn. Hit the prayers. You know, keep continually praying to Yahweh Bashem Shai. So anyway, it says here, Job chapter 18, verse 10. The snare is laid for him in the ground, and a trap for him in the way, and his ways. You know, so everywhere he goes. Verse 11. Terror shall make him afraid on every side, and he shall drive him to his feet. That's why they're scared. You know, like I said, I'm gonna put the links in the description box so you can look it up for yourself. How he's afraid concerning the terrors that are surrounding him all over. You got the Edomites in America. They have terror within their hearts. That then the South Americans and stuff like that will come there and take their jobs. Now they're being comforted to a certain degree because you have ice and all that. So they're happy. So you can see the relief in their spirit, in their minds, that is happening to the people of South America that's trying to get into America because of the situation of their lifestyle and stuff like that. But I'm gonna give you an example of a fact. Now the reason that they're dirt poor is because of Esau. He actually destroyed the money system over there by putting them in debt and then making sure that his money is above all the others. Because I'm gonna give you an example of a fact. I back in the days thought my mother came here because of the situation in Suriname and all that there. But as I digged around, I started finding out, and then I found out like, nah, man, my mother didn't come here to have so-called good life and stuff like that, because the money in Suriname was actually stronger than the Dutch gulden. And when I heard that, I was like, damn, what the fuck? And I looked it up, and it actually is the truth. The Suriname gulden, the dollar they call it, dollar. It's not dollar, but dollar, Suriname dollar. Anyway, that money over there was, I think, 2 times as powerful as the gulden. Can you understand that? The gulden was the world currency, the first or the second world currency. I think it was the first or the second. And then the second or the first was the pound from England. And then the third world currency is the one that we have right now, which is the dollar. So I kind of not know, but wait. If you look it up, wait. I have a documentary on it, a very short documentary. I already uploaded it actually. So I'm gonna put the link in the description box so you can check it out for yourself. And it says right here, wait, the gulden, Dutch gulden. Dutch gulden. Dutch gulden was the world currency. They called it the florin. It's also known as the florin. It was the world's currency, and the word gulden goes back to the word golden because it was backed up by gold back then. And then I think the pound became second, and then I do know that the dollar is the third world currency. And the other two, I'm not sure which place they were. Like the pound was the first or the second, or the gulden was the first or the second, one of those two. Anyway, but they're losing that power, right? But anyway, so now they broke down Suriname. So now when we left there, the country was good. We just came here just, on a vacation trip, and then she just stayed because she was born in a time where you would have dual Dutch citizenship, because that land was a colony of America, of the Netherlands. They call Suriname, they call it Dutch Guyana. The Dutch Guyanese. I'm a Dutch Guyanese one. You have British Guyana. You have Spanish Guyana, which is Venezuela. You have Portuguese Guyana, which is Amapa. You probably never heard of that country. Most likely. And a lot of people have not heard of that country anyway, that live here. And that live in South America, that are from South America, which is crazy. Because, they don't teach these things in schools. And why would they? Why would they give you knowledge? They're trying to keep you stupid and make you turn into a worker instead of a thinker. Because if you're a thinker, you're gonna start to make you're gonna start trying to build stuff and have stuff for your own and all that there for yourself ownership. I mean, with that. Anyway, so going back to the thing, the Dutch money system. Sorry, the Suriname money system was higher than the Dutch. So that's the same thing that they did in Mexico. So they broke that down. They broke all these countries down and then set themselves up because they put everybody in debt because that's what they do. And I'm gonna put a link in the description box concerning that also, how they put people in nations in debt. It's called economic hitman. And let me put that also in the description box before I forget it. That's why if I, for example, make videos like house videos and stuff like that. Wait, economic hitman. Economic Hitman Confessions. So this is what happens when I make videos in the house, because then I have all the resources right tapped in and I could just put these links and show you myself, you know, Lord willing, of course. Now I got to talk about it and then put it later in the description box, but let me speed it up before I just get bored on that. The thing is, before I get stopped on that, because I continually keep on stopping trying to show stuff. So that's how they actually made sure that Mexico is poor and all these other countries upon the planet Earth. Because think about it, Africa is the richest continent in the existence of existence itself, in the history of history itself. You have Africa, you have the Middle East. Until this, I did a video about that also. That the wells of Ophir and stuff like that. That's in the Middle East. They have been digging gold. Listen carefully. They have been digging gold in the Middle East going back for 2,000, 3,000 years. And then since 1938, they started to actually dig there again. Since 1938, they started to dig a cave, you know, gold in those regions. Like I said, I'm gonna put the link in the description box so you can check it out for yourself. Let me put this there. Right, so I already wrote that down, so like I said, so you can check it out for yourself. But yeah, so what's happening is these countries are rich, but Esau's taking it all out because he's dealing treacherously and he's the one that's actually robbing. So now the Most High is going to make it to where he's going to be the one that's going to be robbed. He's going to be the one that the Heavenly Father is going to cause people to actually deal treacherously with them. You know, for example, Obadiah chapter 1, Jeremiah chapter 49, those two chapters show you what's going to happen to Esau in the end. You know, but now he's doing good to a certain degree. A lot of Edomites nowadays ain't doing good, especially the middle class and all that type of stuff. Like they're going up and down like a roller coaster. But a few years ago, they was actually complaining and doing bad. You know, and Esau is the elites. They're making it to where the middle class is being destroyed systematically. Because like I often say, I always basically say this, the middle class is the one that feeds the lower class. Why? The middle class is the one that has these stores where you have the food, the supermarkets and all that type of stuff. Those are the ones that actually do business with the elites because they buy in bulk and then they come and then feed to the poor. Or I could say poor. Not everybody is poor, but just basically the lower class and of course the poor. They're the ones that feed them because they have the connections with the elites. And then therefore the elites is trying to cut them off and make it hard to where the middle class is not going to be just able to feed the lower class anymore. And then they're going to take stuff over and then they're going to start making their own food and giving that to the middle class because now that middle class doesn't have any type of power anymore. So they're going to start feeding the people. Once they get rid of that, the middle class, then they're going to start feeding the people the GMO food that they have been setting up going back since the 70s and 80s, but it wasn't really all over the place, you know. But now they have their money system in the way, and in 2019, that's when I have a video about that. It's called basically, it's not called, but I'm gonna explain it to you. Like, no, I'm gonna title it The Rise and Fall of the, what's it called again? Damn, I forgot those two companies. Rise of. Vanguard and BlackRock. Vanguard and BlackRock. Those two. And this is a recent video, so, and I'm telling you, like, Lord willing, the resources that I'm listening to, these Edomites, they make it their own tongue to fall upon themselves. They're fucking brilliant, man. I'm looking at them like, damn, they're coming up with some great ass information, man, and it's a beautiful thing, you know, because the Most High said in the book of Sirach 42, he had not given his saints to declare all his marvelous works. So a lot of these marvelous works of the Heavenly Father, which are actually up on the planet Earth, and that are being done, whether it be nature, whether it be just beautiful things and all that there, is not being declared by the Jacob descendants. The biggest thing that the Jacob descendants have is basically to bring and declare that immortality and the kingdom, you know, because salvation cometh of the Israelites, was starting with Judah. What am I looking for? On BlackRock. I'm writing all this down in the description box, so for the description box, sorry, so that you can check it out for yourself, of course. Right, so let me go on, man. Now it says here in the book of Job, chapter 18, verse 11 again. Terror shall make him afraid on every side, and shall drive him to his feet. And before you know it, he's going to be on his knees begging. Just like the book of Luke, chapter 16. They're going to be begging for first and foremost, mercy, which they have not given themselves. But when it's their time to actually get screwed over, now they're talking about mercy and basically give me a little bit of water because I'm suffocating from the sun or something like that, you know? That's what they say. Because it's too hot, it's burning them. You know, the judgment of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is going to be hard on Esau. They already, if they lose their jobs and stuff like that, what's the first thing that they start doing? Killing themselves, killing their whole family. Let's say a Christmas doesn't go well for them, they kill their family and themselves. You know, there's so many examples of that. You know, they ain't strong whatsoever mentally, because when they hit bad times, that's about the time that they end themselves. You know, seeking peace in death, right? Instead of tribulation and turbulence in life. But the beautiful thing is, once the Israelites get that spiritual power, we're gonna keep you alive. You ain't dying. So a lot of times, you know, actually, I know it now, but still, let me just say what I wanted to say. A lot of people, when they want to harm somebody, the first thing that comes to their mind, the worst thing that they can think of is killing a person. That's the main thing that a lot of people think about when they want to harm someone. Well, if you think about it, death is actually very peace-bringing, because you're dead, you're gone. Keeping them alive is actually the more and greater torment that you can wish upon a person, by having them alive and going through some things. So therefore you have first Thessalonians chapter 2, or was it 2 Thessalonians? Let me get that real quick. What was it again? 2 Thessalonians? Let's find out. Let me find out. 2 Thessalonians 1 and 6, where it says, seeing it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. Seeing it is a right thing with the Heavenly Father to want recompense, to want payback to them that trouble you. And tribulation to them that trouble you. Tribulation is, you know, when you're going through some fucked up things, right? That's what the Israelites went through, right? For centuries now. So let me go on, verse 7. And to you who are troubled, rest with us, when the Lord Yahushua shall be revealed from heaven with his mighty angels, in flaming fire, taking vengeance on them that know not the Heavenly Father. That goes for you Jacob descendants too. Let me read it again. In flaming fire, taking vengeance on them that know not the Most High, and that obey not the gospel of our Lord Yahushua Mashiach. So that goes for the Jacob descendants too. They're going to feel that flaming fire too. Eventually, it's going to be that flaming fire of nuclear fire, then all y'all gonna know what it feels like to be in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You think that was fun? You can't wait. You should wait until the Most High put your head up in that oven. It's gonna feel like that, even if you are from afar. Which is what's gonna happen, because the heathen nations around the world, they're gonna find out that America is going to be that. It's really going to be a melting pot that thing, because it's going to melt. The elements are going to melt with fervent heat, right? So Job chapter 18 verse 12. His strength shall be hunger bitten, and destruction shall be ready at his side. That's the future of Esau. So now you can see it happening, but it's not really like Ezekiel chapter 2 and chapter 3 explains it to you, like it's not really happening straight up in front of you right now, but it's happening straight up in front of you right now. As the scripture says, though it tarry, wait for it, because it tarrieth not. Let me give you an example of what I mean with that. Now, if you talk to people, they'll be like, oh, when is it going to happen, man? I don't see these things. But then you show them what's happening through the scriptures, but according to them, it's not fast enough. It's not really, on point enough according to them. But you can see it with the patience that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai put up in you. Well, Lord willing, he did. So you have that patience of waiting for it. Of course I want it to be sped up, man. But when you talk to other people, then you start realizing how much patience you really actually do have. Because they don't have that, man. They're not actually thinking about like, hey, Esau's going to fall in near. I don't even want to put a year. Because, if it was last year and I said like, hey, this year's going to be the end, man. This year we're going to go home. Come the fuck on, man. Come on, man. They're going to be looking at you like, he's just making up things and stuff like that. I would rather say, look, it's near, see these scriptures and stuff like that. All these prophecies have come to pass. These are already past, come to pass actually. These are already gone and past. These are happening right now and they're getting stronger. Like the curses upon the daughters of Esau, which is how it happened with the curses upon the daughters of Jacob. They're getting screwed over right now, bit by bit. They're fighting against their own household. They're making it to where, just like in the 70s with the Jacob descendants, they're making it to where they would kick out the man of their house, and then raise the children alone and stuff like that. That's what they did with the Jacob descendants in the 70s. So now it's happening to them, slowly but surely. But I see that Edomites are still making jokes about Jacob descendants not knowing their fathers and stuff like that. It's actually on you now, but it's not that big to where you can see it, like all over the place. You know what I'm saying? You see it, but you don't see it. I hope it's just like with the prophecies. You can see it because you know the prophecies, but somebody else that's in this world and trying to, you're trying to talk to him or whatever, he kind of interested, and then you're telling him he doesn't really 100% necessarily see it. He's trying to see it, but he can't. But some of them are getting there, man. That's why I don't give up hope for a Jacob descendant that's, he really interested in his truth, but you see that he has his worldly ways. He want to still go out there and go to the party places, launches and shit like that. I don't do shit like that out of myself. Heavenly Father, you will never catch me in a launch. And if you do, somebody else drag me up in there. But I'm not doing that. Out of myself, I'm not doing that shit. I don't do stuff like that. Because I don't care. I don't care about the world, man. I'm not into that shit. Oh, he's just trying to have get the fuck out of here. I'm not trying to have a good time. If I have a good time, I could watch a movie. I could just stand still in one place and have fun with that. But then again, not everybody's favorite color is orange. So with that I mean, like, hey, that's just the opinion, man. That's just the person's taste. Some people, they really need to go out there to do stuff in order to calm themselves down from the madness in this world. They need to go on vacation or something like that. Lord willing, I don't need that, man. I don't really need that. Lord willing. Sometimes it might be fun, but out of myself, I'm not gonna go out there and try to do it like Nike. So Job chapter 18 verse 12. His strength shall be hunger bitten, and destruction shall be ready at his side. It's already, the Most High is already preparing it for him. You know what I'm saying? He's just not going through it, not yet. But You have the lower ones of Esau that are going through it, man. They're hurting. they've been hurting. It's funny as hell. Because these are the same people that be laughing at Jake. Now they're going through some things. If you go on BitChute and all that type of stuff, you gonna man, Rumble, man, you're gonna see how they being disease ridden, man. Disease ridden. Now that is the Most High. All these, if you add onto the scriptures and you remove from these scriptures, all these curses shall be added upon you. All the curses that are written in this book and the ones that are not written in this book. That's what's happening to the Edomites right about now. Let me get that real quick. Revelation chapter 22, verse, let me see right here. Verse, Revelation 22 and, right, 18. For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, the Most High shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. So the plagues that are written in this book is going to be added unto you, and the ones that are not written in this book is going to be added unto you. Because, you know, verse 19. And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, the Most High shall take away his part out of the book of life, and out of the holy city, and from the things that are written in this, which are written in this book. I think it was another scripture that said that said that even the wait, let me trying to get that. Maybe I'm fumbling something. Plagues. The plagues that are written and not written in this book. I think I got it. Now Deuteronomy 28 and let me see, 61. It says here, also every sickness and every plague which are, yeah, that's what I want. Let me get it in the book, because I looked it up in on the telephone. Let me get it in the book. Now this is Deuteronomy 29 and 61. Now it says right here, Deuteronomy 29 and 61, it says, I started 60. No, I started 59. So it says here, then Yahweh will make thy I started 58. I could go up and up, but anyway. So Deuteronomy on 28 and 58. So it says right here, if thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, Yahweh, thy power, right? It says the Lord thy God. Okay, so it says here, 59. Then Yahweh will make thy plagues wonderful. He's gonna rub it in like rubber duck oil. He's gonna rub it in real good. Then Yahweh will make thy plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed, even great plagues, and of long continuance, and sore sicknesses, and of long continuance. Again, so verse 16, moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt, Mizraim, which thou was afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. They ain't leaving. It's like you're gonna pass it on through your gene. all your kids after you. They're gonna get it. Verse 60, moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Mizraim, which thou was afraid of, and and they shall cleave unto thee. Verse 61. Also every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book of this law, them will the Most High bring upon thee until thou be destroyed. So if you type in, I don't even want to say that word, but anyway, if you type in injuries on BitChute, you're gonna see some miraculous, wonderful, straight up miracle diseases. That's what you're gonna look at and be like, damn, I didn't even know that existed, man. You got people that be growing hair on their tongue. And it's just funny, but that's the Most High, man. Most High ain't playing. And he got things like that. And yeah, man, he's sending them up to get destroyed, man. And this is just a taste of the things that he's doing unto them. So this is basically a little peek of what's going to happen to them in the future. So that's what he's doing. So that's what I mean, for example, with you can see it, but you can't see it. Why? Because it's not all over the place. But it's beginning bit by bit, little by little. It's beginning. You know, whether it be here, whether it be like in your face and stuff like that, or whether it be in certain areas. Let me go back to Job 18 and 13. So it says here, Job 18 and 13, it shall devour the strength of his skin, even the firstborn of death shall devour his strength. Yahushua is the firstborn of death. He's going to devour the strength of Esau. And he's the one that set Esau up, because in the book of Colossians chapter 1, it is written that he is the one that made powers and authorities and hierarchies and all that there. Colossians chapter 1 speaks about that. So he's the one that did that all. I see a child driving a boat, so I'm looking like, what the? Is that a remote control boat? No, she's actually driving it. That's crazy. I've never seen that before. That's great. Children, they can do crazy things if you teach them. Anyway, wondrous things. Anyway, so it says here, Job 18 and 14. His confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, and it shall bring him to the king of terror, which is the Most High Yahweh, right? But the Lord Yahushua is the one that's going to, he's going to fight against him spiritually, with spiritual attacks. Things are not going to go his way, because he's confident that he can take other nations down with the power of his witches and his counselors and all that type of stuff. And the Most High is going to make it to where he's going to dumbfound their witches, man, their counselors. He's going to make them stupid, and then they're not going to know what type of military strategies and tactics they should actually apply in order for them to win the battle, because they do worship Satan, man. And then off of that, they start winning wars, and they're getting proud with it, because Esau is the prince of the power of this world. Satan is the prince of the power of this world, and he gave that power to Esau because he bowed down to him. So now their nation is benefiting off of the things that Satan gave the people of this world, that if you worship him, then you're going to be very successful in this world. And a lot of people are doing it. Some of them doing it unknowingly, but they're going to find out that they did it. Right, so let me get a few precepts on that, which is Psalm 66 and 3. Psalm 66 and 3, it says here, say unto the Most High, how terrible art thou in thy works. Through the greatness of thy power shall thine enemies submit themselves unto thee. Right? Just like it is written in Psalms chapter 1. Kiss the Lord Yahushua before he get angry. Kiss him quick. Basically, kiss him, make up, ask for forgiveness, and it might subside his anger. Put it on the side or something like that. Right. Let me read it again. Isaiah 66 and 3. Say unto the Most High, how terrible art thou in thy works. To the greatness of thy power shall thine enemies submit themselves unto thee. And all the earth shall worship thee, and shall sing unto thee. They shall sing to thy name, Yahweh. Salah. They're not doing it right now. Everybody's singing unto Caesar Borgia, if they're singing at all. Or they're straight up singing unto Satan. And the other part is singing unto Baal, which they call Allah, which they don't know nothing about. I know a few of them kind of know, but They're considered as how you call that thing, cast outs or castaways, that they fight against their own gods, belief, their own people's God belief or whatever, you know, and they don't like them. And if they come to their countries, they're gonna smoke them, you know. For example, this female Wiz Khalifa, is that her name? No, this Jacob descendant is called Wiz Khalifa, but the female is called Khalifa too, if I'm correct. I think it was Khalifa. She's an East Indian or something like that, or some Arabian nation. No, not East Indian. She's from that land that it looks like Elam, but it is some sort of Arabian type country because those people mingled with each other. You know, it could be Elam because she looked like it, but she kind of, her people look like almost Arabian, but they're not. I don't think they're Ishmaelites. But anyway, that land over there. If she goes back to that land, yeah, you can bet your ass somebody gonna honor his God by getting her. They're protesting again. Every other week you got protests over here, which you will never hear about in the news, because they don't want to show how upset the people are with a lot of things. I don't know what this is. I don't care. Not interested. Unless it's something that I could link with the scriptures. Which, the fall of Esau, you can link it with the scriptures, however, you know, so. Anyway, Job chapter 8, oh yeah, sorry. Sirach 43 and 28. I'm getting it. So Sirach 43. Right. And 28. It says, who shall be able to magnify him? For he is great above all his works. All the works that Yahweh Bashem Yahushua has created, he's greater than all those works. And terrible all his anger. But merciful, great are his mercies. Yes. Verse 29. So Sirach 43 29. How about shut the fuck up? I hate screaming. Call it back there. So it says here. Alright. Where was I? Shit, I get distracted, man. I hate when people talk loud. I can't stand this. The Sirach 42 and 30. I'll pop up. Sirach 42 and 29. Yahweh is terrible and very great, and marvelous is his power. When you glorify Yahweh, exalt him as much as you can, for even yet he will far exceed. And when you exalt him, put forth all your strength, and be not weary, for ye can never go far enough. These type of things made me think of spiritual power. I would know what to do with it. But anyway. Every one of you motherfuckers that be screaming at the Mela Bofa show, I'm gonna smoke your ass, yo. Once that time comes. Where was I? Just brings irritating memories. You got some dudes that think they're your father, then they want to scream at you. I'll be like, Heavenly Father willing, you're gonna see my father. Anyway, since you want to play them. So this is Psalms 96. Psalms 96. Oh, it's East Indians. That's why. Hey, yo, already. Hey. Man. Psalm 69. And I need to really calm the hell down. 96. I went to 69, sorry. 96. It's not even a protest. It's some kind of Elam thing. Worshipping their gods or something like that. And it's not Elam from India. Fuck it. Psalms 96 and 4. It says, "For Yahweh is great and greatly to be praised, for he is feared above all gods." So, everyone on this planet is just reading about your idol, how it's above the Most High. And I'm sorry, what the fuck? How the Most High is above it. Let me read it again. So it says here, Psalms 96 and 4. "For Yahweh is great and greatly to be praised. He is to be feared above all gods. For all the gods of the nations are idols." That's exactly what's happening right now. All the gods of the nations are idols. But Yahweh made the heavens. Verse 6. "Honor and majesty are before him. Strength and beauty are in his sanctuary." And the sanctuary of the Israelites, the sanctuary of the Most High in the physical form. That was it. The sanctuary of the Most High in the physical form is the tabernacle, where the Ark of the Covenant was in. But when it falls upon the people, the Jacob descendants are the sanctuary of the Most High. And even deeper, it's actually the elect of the Jacob descendants, within the Jacob descendants, that are the sanctuary of the Most High. The ones that go basically, when you bring someone to the job, you don't want him to let your name fall by doing stupid stuff because you referenced him and now he's coming up in the midst and messing up your name. Well, that's basically how the Most High is going to make sure that only the elect of Jacob is going to represent him. The rest of the Jacob descendants are not going to represent the Most High. Right, so it says here, Job 18 and 15. "It shall dwell in his tabernacle because it is none of his. Brimstone shall scatter upon his habitation." That's talking about nuclear fire, because brimstone is one of the main ingredients of a nuclear bomb. Brimstone. If you have brimstone, you can find it. Well, not around here, but for example, Africa, for example, the Middle East. You have different countries up on the planet Earth that have brimstone in abundance. And if you can Google it. If you stick a fire to brimstone, it's gonna explode. It's a stone that catches fire. And if you can make a bomb with that, which you shouldn't be doing. But Esau does it. That's why they got the nuclear bombs. They put that brimstone up in there in order for them to be able to actually blow stuff up. Brimstone is a very dangerous stone, you know. And like I said, if you light it on fire, it will explode. It, and if it's just like dust, it will catch fire. You know, because yeah, brimstone shall scatter upon his habitation. His roots shall be dried up beneath, and above shall his branch be cut off. Damn. I need to really come down with that shit. Unless they sing it to their idols, so sorry about that. The pepper. But it's good for you though. Anyway, Job chapter 18 verse 16. His roots shall be dried up beneath, and above shall his branches be cut off. Because the branches is where he reaches onto. Like for example, if you read the book of Daniel chapter 4, it will explain unto you what the branches means. It will explain unto you what the roots mean. So the roots also represent stability. Let me try and find that for you in the book of Daniel 4. Wait, let me get it on my phone. Daniel 4. So Daniel 4 and 14. Wait. Daniel, I'll just go to the point. Daniel 4 and 21. I started 20. So Daniel 4 and 20. So it says, the tree which thou sawest, which grew and was strong, whose height reached unto the heaven, and the sight thereof to all the earth, whose leaves were fair, and the fruit thereof much, and in it was meat for all. Under which the beasts of the field dwell, and upon whose branches the fowls of the heaven had their habitation. Right? So, verse 22. It is thou, O king, that art grown and become strong, for thy greatness is grown and reacheth unto heaven. Because it says here, whose branches, so back in 21, verse 21, it says here, and upon whose branches the fowls of the heaven had their habitation. So 22, it is thou, O king, thou art grown and become strong, for thy greatness is grown and reacheth unto heaven, and thy dominion to the end of the earth. So the branches and stuff like that reach upon the heaven, reach unto the heavens, and of course the roots is the stability and all that there. That's talking about that.